Hello children, how are you all? Are you preparing for your midterm exam? All should learn well, okay? Then very easy lessons, all should try to score full marks. Today we are learning the structure of Earth. You know what is Earth? Where do we live? Are we living inside the Earth or surface of the Earth? Yes, you know, we live on the surface of the earth, and earth is a unique planet. Why it is so? Because among how many planets are there? 8 planets, isn't it? And among these planets, only earth has life on it. So we call earth unique planet. Why it is so? Because air and water are present only in the earth. Its atmosphere, that's earth atmosphere and water make life possible in the earth. What is atmosphere? Always we are learning what is atmosphere. And if you just imagine this is our earth, then a layer of air surrounds our earth, our planet earth, and that is called atmosphere. So this air and water also present on the earth. So this atmosphere, that is layer of air and water, make life possible on the earth. And see, it is believed that the earth was very hot during the early part of its formation. It took millions of years to cool down. And see, at the beginning, our earth was very hot and it took millions of years to cool down. And after continuous heavy rain made the earth cool. After long, it took millions of years to cool down the earth. That is due to the continuous rain. So now see, let us see the structure of the earth. And the earth has an egg-like structure. You might have seen an egg. Just imagine a boiled egg. After boiling, first you peel off the outer shell, that is crust, somewhat hard, and inside that you can see we already learned the structure of egg, and that is egg white is that is the mantle of the earth, and inside that you can see yellow yolk, center part yolk, okay, like an egg. The earth also has mainly 3 parts, that are crust, mantle, core. And the core divided into 2 parts, that are outer core and inner core. Just look at the board, all of you, and you can see I have marked crust, mantle, and next one is outer core. Next one is outer core, and this red shaded one is inner core. Inner core. These are same layer. So mainly 3 layers are there. Outermost layer of the earth is called what, all of you say? Outermost layer of the earth is called crust, and below the crust we can see mantle, and outer core and inner core together make the center of the earth. These are the layers of earth, and this is the structure of earth. Then let us see each layer, okay, one by one. Let us see. First we are learning. Before that, all of you listen that introductory paragraph. The earth has an egg-like structure. At its center is a yolk of metal called core. So the center part of the earth, I told, this outer core and inner core make core. That is the center part of the earth. This core is the center part of the earth, and this core made of what? Metals. Core made of metals, okay, and that is the like eggs yolk. Here it is core. Then, which is surrounded by an egg white of soft rocks called mantle. So this mantle made of what? Soft rocks. Mantle made of soft rocks. Okay. And next one, outer shell of hard rocks called crust. And I told you at the beginning, and this crust is somewhat hard and made of hard rocks. Hard rocks. Okay. And see, there are 3 layers, outermost layers. Now, can you tell where we live on the earth? Are we living in mantle, crust or core? Yes, we are living in where? We are living on the crust. That is the outermost layer of the uppermost layer of the earth. Uppermost layer of the earth, and life exists on the crust, and it is the only cool area, cool layer of the earth. Okay. Then let us see crust. The outermost layer of the earth is called crust. In the picture you can see the outermost layer of the earth is called crust, and it is made of hard rocks, and life exists on the crust, and its thickness varies from place to place. Thickness means what? ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ഈ കന, ക്രസ്റ്റിന്റെ കന. അതായത് സി ഹിയർ ഇറ്റ് ഈസ്, ഹിയർ ഇവിടെ വരുമ്പോൾ തിക്നെസ് കുറഞ്ഞാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത്, ഇവിടെ വരുമ്പോൾ കൂടിയാണ് ഇരിക്കുന്നത് അല്ലെ. അപ്പൊ ഇതുപോലെ തന്നെയാണ് ക്രസ്റ്റിന്റെ തിക്നെസ്. പ്ലേസ് ടു പ്ലേസ് ഇറ്റ് ചേഞ്ചസ്, its thickness changes place to place. And see, it varies from 6 to 11 kilometer under oceans, but under high mountains it is about 70 kilometer thick. It is made up of rocks. It contains continents and oceans. Life exists on the crust, and continents, oceans are on the crust, that is surface of the earth. We can see oceans, continents, all, and life also exists on the crust. So crust is the uppermost layer of the earth, outermost layer of the earth. The next is mantle. It is the middle layer lying between the crust and the core of the earth. From the picture itself you know, crust, outermost layer, and innermost layer is core, and in between crust and core what comes? Which layer comes? Mantle comes, and this mantle made of what? Rocks. Okay, mantle made of rocks. What is the difference between crust and mantle? Crust made of hard rocks and mantle made of soft rocks. That's the only difference between crust and mantle. And see, this core only made of metals, core made of metals. See the difference? Crust and mantle made of rocks and core made of metals. Okay. Then next is, it is partially molten layer. Molten means is what do you mean by molten metal? Molten rock means in liquid form. In Malayalam we can tell ഉരുകിയ അവസ്ഥ അല്ലെ, പാറ ഉരുകിയ അവസ്ഥ. അത്രയും ചൂടാണ് എർത്തിന്റെ ഇന്നർ കോറിൽ, ഇന്നർ സ്പേസിൽ ഇത്രയും ചൂടാണ്. അപ്പൊ അതുകൊണ്ട് എന്തായിരിക്കും? സോഫ്റ്റ് റോക്ക് ആയിരിക്കും, മോൾട്ടൺ റോക്ക് ആയിരിക്കും മാൻഡിലിൽ കാണുന്നത്. Then it is partially molten layer. It is about 2900 kilometer thick and contains a lot of iron and magnesium. And what are the minerals present? Iron and magnesium present in the mantle. What are present in the mantle? Iron and magnesium. Iron and magnesium are present in mantle. Iron and magnesium. Here it is. What are present? Iron, magnesium. Iron and magnesium present in where? In mantle. That is MaGNeSium, magnesium. MaGNeSium, magnesium. So mantle made of soft molten rocks and it is the middle layer of the earth, and iron and magnesium are present in mantle. The next center part of the earth. What is the center part of the earth? Core. And it is divided into outer core and inner core. Okay, core forms the center of the earth. What forms the center of the earth? Core forms the center of the earth. Core forms the center of the earth. And at the beginning itself, I told it is made of metals. It is made of metals. Okay. And see, it is divided into two parts called outer and inner core. It is the core divided into two parts, that are outer core and inner core. This white shaded part I mentioned outer core, and this red shaded part inner core. These together make the center of the earth, that is the core, which is made up of metals. Okay, core made of metals. Then the outer core is about 2300 kilometer thick. It is made of molten iron and nickel. So in mantle we can see iron and magnesium, and in core what we can see? Core we can see iron and nickel. Here in core we can see iron and nickel. Iron and nickel, these are metals. Iron and nickel we can see in where? In outer and inner core, that is in the center of the earth. And inner core is also made of iron and nickel. It is about 1200 kilometer thick and is like a solid ball of metal. And inner core is somewhat like a solid ball of metals, and the inner core is somewhat like a solid ball of metals, and the outer core also made of iron and nickel, both made of iron and nickel, but the center part is harder than which outer core. Outer core is partially made of partially molten metals, and inside it is looks like a solid ball of metals. Okay, so can you name the three layers of earth? They are crust, mantle, core. Core divided into two, which are they? Outer core and inner core. And crust made of hard rocks, and on the crust we live. That life exists on the crust, and oceans, continents are present on the crust. And next layer, middle layer, mantle made of molten rocks, soft molten rocks, and iron and magnesium are present in the mantle. And next layer is core, inner layer of the earth, or inner part of the earth, or center of the earth is called core, and made of molten metals. And which are the metals present? Iron and nickel. And both outer core and inner core made of iron and nickel. Okay, and this iron and nickel in the outer core, it is somewhat in a molten form, but this center part, inner core, looks like a solid ball, and it is about 1200 kilometer thick and is like a solid ball of metal. So this is the structure of an earth. Then in the next page it is given what is axis. What is axis? You know what is axis? Axis is an imaginary line passing through the center of the earth and coming out from the earth at the north pole and south pole. In this picture it is given axis. This is the axis, and it is marked north pole and south pole. North pole and south pole. Okay, and this is the axis. Actually there is no axis, but this earth is moving around on its own axis, imaginary axis. Okay, this is called axis. And equator is an imaginary line that divides the earth into two equal halves. Here you can see a line divided the earth into two halves, and that is called equator. And the upper half between the equator and the north pole is called northern hemisphere. I told north pole is here, south pole is here, and the portion between and an imaginary line divided this earth into two, that are northern hemisphere and southern hemisphere. The imaginary line is called equator, and the portion between the north pole and the equator is called northern hemisphere, and the portion between the south pole and the equator is called southern hemisphere. Okay, and so what are the things you have to remember here? What is axis, what is equator, northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. So this is the structure of the earth. All of you read it today and learn it today itself. Okay.